Morning, guys. How's it going? Another day. Are we live? I believe so. Check everything, make sure it's all right. 8:01 Tuesday morning. Yeah, that's a good question, JJ. Did anyone take the plunge and swing option contracts on Tesla yesterday? I did not. I don't want to mess around with the implied volatility crush. I know that. Yeah, Baba to the downside, Redman. That was a good one. So if you guys are in the chat, we were sort of going over some Baba downside plays, and I think a few people got in some puts. Really nice play here. Just bled out all day yesterday. Really, really nice. And then this morning, big gap down. So congratulations to anyone that got the Baba puts from the Discord. Nice little double top here intraday, 1-2. After that, we were calling out the flush of this 195 level. That was our entry here. This 195 flush. Once we got under that, it was never got back above, ever. So if you got in, at that 195 flush, just really nice. So we'll go over that later. Actually, that's sort of in my schedule. But start responding. Haters don't get attention. Yeah, you're right. Who's hating? Who's the hater? Yeah, that's all right. If you didn't get in, if you didn't get in yesterday, there's gonna always be more opportunities. That's something you gotta come into every day with, that mindset that there's always gonna be another opportunity. Because if not, you're gonna get really worked up, and that's difficult. So today, guys, we got Tesla earnings yesterday. Let's see what happens. We have maybe some continuation. That's always a possibility. Today could be a nice continuation. And depending on where Tesla goes today, there is still hope for, call options if you are in them, right? So if Tesla has some crazy day, closes above 700, does some wild move, then, you'll start to see those Tesla call options come back. But as of right now, you're going to wake up red if you do have Tesla calls or puts. Obviously puts because it went up. But right now, both sides are going to open up red unless you sold some spreads, unless you did some ICs. That would be the way to go as of right now. And that's probably the way to go for a lot of earnings this week. So we'll look at that. We'll see what the continuation could be. We'll also go over a few other earnings reports that released this morning. This morning we had UPS GE. What else was there? UPS GE, 3M, JetBlue, Raytheon, Waste Management. So a few of those to look at. We'll also, I'll wait for the schedule to talk about some other stuff. But so we'll look at those earnings reports. I don't believe we have anything too big on the economic calendar. I do know that the Fed is meeting today. They're not going to be talking today. They're going to be talking tomorrow. So tomorrow at 2 p.m., Jerome Powell will be talking at 2:30, and then 2 o'clock is when the announcement comes out about whatever they talked about, whatever is going on. So that is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. That's very big. That is something we need to watch tomorrow afternoon. This morning, durable goods. Sometimes that has some effect on the market. So that's at 8:30. We'll see if there's any type of movement on the market from that. What else? Earnings, economic news. What else? That's about it, I think, for just overall broad recap of the market yesterday. Pretty choppy market. I came into the day, I'm pretty sure I was talking to you guys about this, but I was definitely talking to the chat about this, that I was not expecting much of a day. You're coming into a week of a lot of earnings, guys, and usually the moves are very muted because no one just wants to go ahead and take those those big bets, make those big moves during a week like this. This is the week that I think a lot of people relax and wait to see what happens, wait to see the numbers instead of trying to bet on what's going to happen, because there's so much implied volatility, right? IV. There's so much, so many people that are expecting these stocks to move because of the news that comes out, because of their earnings reports. So usually it's a pretty muted week, besides maybe after hours during some of the reports. So if you see another choppy day today, that would be totally normal. We did hit all-time highs on the Nasdaq yesterday. We hit 35,000 on the Dow. We're selling off below that today, and I believe we hit all-time highs on the S&P 500. So another good day in general, but sort of choppy, sort of slow. So we'll see what happens today. Thoughts on what you can play today? We'll go over that in this stream. So let's go ahead and get into the schedule here. So we'll first go over Tesla. We'll look at the chart, look at what's going on, look at the earnings. If you guys don't know, if you didn't read the report, which I think is crazy, Tesla had a $1 billion in net income. Now, I remember when everyone was saying that Tesla was not a profitable company or never was going to be. And they made $1 billion in net income in a quarter. In 3 months, they made $1 billion in income, in profit. So that's crazy. And here is a little chart actually from there. I mean, we can look at this real quick. Here's a little chart in there for their net income. You can see this last quarter, $1.14 billion. For the last 4, 5, 6, 7, the last 8 quarters, they have been profitable in net income. These 2 quarters down, we had a little bit of a blip here of profitability, but very, very strong reversals. You can see the consistent trend was losing money, got really bad here in 2018. This was probably around the time that people were like, oh my God, like this company's done for. And then very nice turnaround by Elon and the team there. So $1.1 billion in net income. That is something that is pretty impressive as a company. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a crazy Tesla bull, but I'm someone that likes to see other people succeed, and I like to see a company that is doing new things, that is trying to revolutionize, the car industry, do good things and succeed at it. So very cool to see. $1 billion in net income. That's very impressive. So I personally believe that Tesla could see more upside. That there's a few. Actually, you know what? Let's go over the schedule first before I jump into all this. Let me go into what else we're going to look at. So we'll go over Tesla. I'll give you my thoughts on it. UPS, GE, 3M, some more earnings reports this morning. We'll take a look at those real quick. Housing stocks. So yesterday, if you guys did not realize, we had housing numbers come out yesterday morning, and they were one of the worst since pandemics. So the new home sales was the worst since the beginning of the pandemic. I'll pull it up right here if I can find it. Where is it? If you want an explanation on IV, I can lead you towards my live stream has it yesterday, but I can go over it later. Let me get through this. Let me get through this schedule first. So here it is. Housing boom is over as new income sales fall to pandemic low. So new home sales fall to pandemic low. Now I think their title there is a little bit misleading. I wouldn't say the housing boom is over, but you just have a slowdown in new home sales. So that's why I want to take a look at D.R. Horton, take a look at Pulte Homes, which is reporting this morning. Yeah, Pulte Homes is reporting this morning. So I want to take a look at those stocks today. Can we expect a little bit of downside because of those housing numbers from yesterday? Something to be aware of, guys. D.R. Horton, Pulte Homes. There's probably a few others that I'm missing out, so keep an eye on those. After hours today, huge earnings after hours today. Here's the Discord chat. Here are the earnings we can expect today, guys. So we have Apple, AMD, Microsoft, and Alphabet. So Apple, AMD, Microsoft, Google, Visa, Teladoc, Starbucks. So a lot after hours. This is going to be big. What Apple does is going to be on everyone's mind, everyone's eyes to see what Apple does. AMD, maybe a sympathy move on NVIDIA. Alphabet, Microsoft, just two gigantic tech companies going to definitely set the tone for the Nasdaq over the next few weeks, in my opinion. So if we get bad earnings from Apple, from Microsoft, from Alphabet, it's not going to be too good for the Nasdaq. And the thing is, a lot of these companies are pushing into all-time highs right before the earnings is released. We saw this exact same thing the last quarter. We were pushing all-time highs. We were moving up really nicely in a lot of these stocks, and we got out into earnings, and we got those big dips. Apple reported great earnings. Microsoft reported fantastic earnings, and all of those stocks fell after reporting those earnings. The reason for that is because coming into the earnings report, you're moving up so much that you have to almost, you have to beat expectations by such a large margin for the analysts to warrant where the stock is. So when you see a stock moving up into earnings, you should be concerned about that. That's not something you should be too excited about, because a lot of the times, if a stock does not move up into earnings, then you have some margin to the upside. When a stock like Microsoft is up so much, sitting at all-time highs right before the earnings report, if they don't absolutely destroy the expectations, you're going to get a dip. So be concerned about these tech stocks coming into these earnings reports being so high on, so pushed up into their all-time highs. That is something that is slightly concerning me. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Roku taps all-time highs. We talked about that yesterday. It did make that move. Got rejected right at all-time highs. Yes, priced in moves, correct. Baba bleed out, we'll go over that. And then the Twitter rejection right at 72. So we talked about that yesterday in the live stream. That Twitter moved right into a very heavy resistance level. And yesterday, it sold off pretty heavy. Now, yesterday I took a put on Facebook. I lost a little bit. I lost like $45. I was looking for the move that happened on Twitter to happen on Facebook. Now, it did not happen on Facebook, so I had to get out of that trade relatively quickly. I was looking for Twitter and Facebook and Snap, all three of them, to sort of slip yesterday because of the big gap up on Friday. We got it on Twitter. We didn't get it so much on Facebook and Snap. So Twitter seems to be the weak one of the group, and I guess that's sort of expected because, earnings aren't as impressive for Twitter as they were for Snap, and it seems like the hype around Facebook's potential earnings is very high right now. So that's our schedule. Let's go ahead and jump into this, and let's get started because we have a pretty busy live stream here. And so sorry if I don't get to anyone's stocks, but I think I have a good schedule for you, and it's pretty packed here. So first off, daily chart. Of course, this happens. Daily chart on the Nasdaq, and you can see all-time highs once again yesterday. So right here, another push through all-time highs. Make sure this is plugged in. Yeah. So here's the hourly chart. You can see we were able to hold 15,000. So if you were on the live stream yesterday, you know that we drew out this area right here, which is right around 15,000, because this was the area that I wanted to see hold. So we were able to hold. We were able to hold that 15K. From this point forward, all that I'm watching is, can we hold 15K? 15K is the magic number right now. That is my magic number for the Nasdaq. 15,000. Want to see that thing hold above it. If it does, fantastic. We can continue. Now, of course, guys, like I talked about so much yesterday, the technicals on the futures, the technicals on the stocks do not mean as much when you're coming into such a large fundamental macroeconomic event like earnings, like Fed announcements. So it's a lot of stuff going on. So, a technical level like 15,000 could not, it could basically get flushed right through on some bad tech earnings or some, pretty hawkish news from the Fed. So we need to be aware that this week technicals can be a little bit weak because of the large, the external factors that are coming into the market. You need to know that. You need to understand that. If you're thinking about taking a position off a technical level, maybe think twice. Maybe think about okay, yes, the technical level looks great, but the Fed's about to talk tomorrow. I have earnings coming up for this company. Should I be taking this position moving into this large week of news and external factors? Something to be aware of, something to keep in your mind as you approach this week. But 15,000 on the Nasdaq, that's all I'm watching. I want to see that thing hold up. Besides that, just watching the intraday price action and getting a feel for the market. So 15,000 there. Here is the Dow. We finally got that push to 35,000 yesterday. We are back below it, which is, sort of sucks to see, but I think some of the Dow earnings this morning are starting to lose a little bit of steam. We sort of talked about that yesterday. If the Dow earnings this morning weren't too hot, maybe you'd see a little bit of a dip. And I believe UPS is selling off from their earnings report. We'll go over that in a second. But I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a dip on the Dow, down about 100 points, because I believe some of those Dow stocks reported earnings this morning, and a few of them are taking a dip. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys know this 35,000 level is extremely tough. We are back below it. I just need to see the Dow get above this 35,000 and hold above this 35,000. That would be ideal. Taking a position on SQQQ just means that you think the market's going to go down. So you're basically you're trying to time the top. Personally, I'm not really into trying to time the top, and I don't know for certain that what's coming out is going to be negative. Just because I said you have to be aware of what's coming out, I don't think that means it's going to be negative. It could easily go up. You just have to be aware that there's external factors. I don't know which direction we go, but Dow, big top here, guys. We're sort of playing around right in this level right now. So this is going to be, it's just you can't really tell where this goes right now. So we need to see, can it get out of this little supply zone, this 35,000 area, 34.9 to 35,000. Can it get out of here? It is trying to hold the 20-day on the 4-hour. Not sure how strong that will be if we get any type of move down, just technical level. It seems like it's holding right now, but I don't trust it just yet. Just because you're on a really big move. You have a lot of stuff coming out. So I'm just going to see, can the Dow hold in this little supply area, hold above maybe the 34.8, which is right around here. You really just don't want to see, for the short-term traders, you don't want to see this thing make new lows, right? You don't want to see it make lower lows. You don't want to see it close below just around here, because you can see we had previous support in this area. If we go down to, say, the hourly chart, you can see that is right around this level, right? So you just don't want to see this thing make lower lows. You don't want to see this level break. Then the next level after that is here. If you start making lower lows, then you're starting to make a top here. And you could even say that this could be a head and shoulders pattern, right? Because you have a shoulder, left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. You don't really want to see that form right at big time resistance. So keep an eye on the Dow today. You want to hold up these previous lows. Don't want to make lower lows. And you definitely don't want to see this head and shoulders form up here at this previous resistance. So keep an eye on that. This is the hourly chart. ES. How do you drag the whole TOS chart? You go to this little hand right here. See the top left one? You go to the hand. So here is ES. ES made new highs. All we were watching yesterday was this 43.80, or this, you can even say 43.80, 43.90, right in this area. But this is the level that I want to see hold. This is very similar to the Nasdaq, right? Previous resistance turning into support. I want to see the support hold, into the future. So as long as we hold this support, I am going to be bullish on the SPY. See how long this can push. But this is the crucial level, 43.8. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see it right here. Previous resistance turning into support. If we get any pullbacks to this level, I will definitely be looking to see, can we get the bounce off of it? Because that looks like a nice support level to me in the short term. So I am going to be watching that. Ticker for the Dow is /YM. /YM. Okay. So Tesla. What is she doing here? Tesla definitely in this range here. So this range is what we're gonna have to wait. And me personally, I'm probably gonna wait to trade Tesla until we break out of this range. I really don't see the reason. I really don't see the reason to trade Tesla within this range, because when you trade Tesla, you're looking for a big move, right? You're looking for something nice, like a nice 2% day, something big, something of a breakout. But right now, Tesla is just very muted, guys. I mean, any push higher is getting sold into. You're stuck in this range. If I can see a push through this 700, then you can definitely start to look for a trade up here. But in this range, it's definitely a much more difficult to find a trade. You're going to have to try to, find the bottoms, try to guess where it's going to start moving. So it's much more difficult when you're trying to trade in a choppy range like this versus trying to trade a breakout, maybe the break and retest here of 700. That would be something very nice to see. That's when I think is the prime time to trade Tesla. But in this chop, not really. 620 downside support, 700 topside resistance. On earnings, we can see that we are slightly moving higher. We closed the day pretty strong yesterday. Here's your earnings reaction. Big push higher, pullback, a secondary push, and sort of just sideways here in the after hours. So from yesterday's close at 657 to where we are right now, you are up about $7 a share, which is nowhere near the $40 expected move into the contracts. And that means that anyone that has puts or calls is going to be losing money this morning. So it's unfortunate, but it's something you probably could have expected. They usually like to keep it in that range. So here's a little range that's forming this morning, just looking at this. So maybe you try to hold, maybe you try to hold this 663 this morning. You have this pre-market resistance up here at 674. So here's two levels to watch this morning on Tesla. But implied volatility crush, so the options will be down this morning. Let's see if we can get any type of intraday movement today on Tesla. Should be interesting. Maybe just watch these highs, these 674s. But ultimately, guys, here on Tesla, you need to get back above 700. You need to get back above 700, or this thing is going to be very, very muted. So that's Tesla. UPS. So UPS, you can see, is taking a little bit of a hit this morning. Here's the 5-minute chart right here. Earnings came out. Yeah. The guy that didn't believe me about IV Crush, I guess he'll see this morning. UPS came out with earnings. I think the earnings were actually good, which is interesting. Let's see here. Excuse me. UPS. I thought I saw UPS earnings on here this morning. GE. Let's take a look at GE. UPS. Here it is. So UPS beat Wall Street estimates for second quarter revenue, helped by e-commerce deliveries, air shipments, specialized handling of healthcare products. Okay, so they got a little bit of a pump from, delivering COVID-19 vaccines. International segment up 30%. EPS beat 306 versus 282. So I don't really see. Yeah, they didn't really point out anything negative in this article. You'd have to go through, obviously read more about the actual filing. But for some reason, you're getting, if anyone knows, let me know. If anyone spotted anything negative in the report, but you're getting a sell-off here this morning on UPS. This could be just because UPS had such a big move here that a lot of it was priced in. So you can see since the last earnings report, you got such a large move up to 219. This is almost from bottom to top. This is a 26% move on a stock like UPS. That's not normal. All right, so a 26% move on UPS. Moving lower. UPS is up. I wouldn't say that. Unless up is down and down is up. That's the only way I'd say UPS is up. But moving lower. UPS this morning. Good earnings, but it looks like Net change in cash was down. Cash on hand was down. Okay, so maybe they're a little concerned about the cash on hand. But also, I mean, I also think this could just be a little bit of a technical dip because look at where UPS was, and look at where this resistance came in here on UPS. This 214 area looks very, very tough up here. So on the daily chart, very weak or very strong resistance here at 214, selling off a little bit on earnings, but I wouldn't be too concerned. Let's see what happens today. UPS, FedEx, those are two to watch today. They sometimes they move together. What's FDX doing this morning? Missed on domestic revenue. Oh, Jim, Daytona Jim. Thank you, man. $3 holla. Thanks for always supporting the stream, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you a lot. What should I use the $3 for? You let me know. I won't spend it on coffee, I promise. But yeah, thank you, Jim. Appreciate you supporting the stream all the time. So FedEx, you can see moving down as well. FedEx down to around 293. So UPS, FedEx under a little bit of pressure this morning. Let's see what happens. But you know, it's not too bad. I think it's just technical. A few misses on their earnings and just really, really up since their last earnings. So there could be room to the downside. You have a huge gap here on the daily chart that maybe wants to get filled. But then you also have this strong support here around 195. So you got 195, and then you got this large gap up here on the daily that you never know, could get filled. So keep an eye on that. All right, UPS, GE was the next one. And GE is slightly up this morning. So you can see right here, a little bit of a push higher on GE. I really don't like trading a stock like GE because, I mean, if you guys see a chart like this intraday, if anyone ever sees a chart like this on their screen, you need to instantly get away from it. You need to run away as far as possible. This is a virus. These are not the stocks that you want to be trading intraday. Maybe you buy shares, and you know, if it's a company you like and you want to hold long term. But if you see candles that look like this on an intraday chart, stay as far away as possible because that is not the volatility that you want to be trading in. On the daily chart, looks a little bit better, but still very sideways for almost a year now. So GE would be a stock I would probably stay pretty far away from. But you are slightly higher this morning, so it is something to keep an eye on if you're interested in GE. 3M, they also reported earnings. 3M is slightly higher this morning off their earnings. If we go to the 5-minute chart, you can see a little pop, but not really that much. You've been wondering why that looks like that for months. I mean, because there's literally no volume, guys. There's absolutely no volume in this stock. And this is literally just candles that are going up and back down, just going sideways for minutes. Can you short candles like that? If you can get filled, there's just no volume. That's why you get candles like this. There's no buying. It's just like swapping hands over and over again. It's just really bad and something I would never ever trade. Let's see, what's the volume in this candle right here? So it's like 6,000 shares in this candle. So it's very small. Yeah, it's like a barcode, correct? It's basically a barcode. I mean, you guys feel free if you want to trade stocks like that. I'm just telling you, that's very volatile and not really something you'd want to be looking at. So 3M, nice little push this morning. If we go to the daily chart, it's been up pretty nicely over the last year. It looks like you do have some resistance in this level, 203, and you're starting to move right into it. So let's go ahead and see, can 3M push into this 203? You can see on the 4-hour, you are pushing right into this previous resistance. So be aware of that. On the weekly chart, you can see we are trying to get back into these all-time highs. Now, if you guys see these green lines on your charts, that is actually because I bought 3M stock right on this day. So right at 136 and on March 30th is when I started to buy 3M stock. So if you ever see these lines I made a long time ago, if you ever see these lines on my charts, it's because I made them because I was buying shares at that time, and I wanted to make sure I knew where I was buying it. So in hindsight, looks like a absolutely fantastic entry. We were holding this uptrend for a long time. So let's keep an eye on 3M. Nice push higher. Moving into this 214. If we can break through this level, break through these highs right here on earnings, maybe you get this move back up to these highs of 219. So that's 3M. Two dudes tossing shares back in the front office. Yeah, probably just trading back and forth. So housing stocks, real quick. DRI. Oh no, not DRI. DHI. DR Horton. This is DR Horton. They are a home builder, right? And you can see since that March fall, pretty big move. And at what point do we start to get a little bit of a slowdown? You're up about 314% from the lows. That's a lot. That's a real lot. So 314% from the highs. And then yesterday, you had news come out that, new home sales has dropped the lowest since pre-pandemic, right? So this is interesting. You've started to get a little bit of a slip here from its highs. Do housing stocks deserve a little bit of downside after this big push? Maybe, and that's why I wanted to bring it up today. So I would be watching maybe this 80 level here on DRI or DR Horton, DHI. Yeah, Lennar as well. And maybe you start... I want to see what the price action is today. I'm not sure what it's going to be like, but I want to watch the price action on the housing stocks because I want to see if these things start getting a little weak from this news that came out. So DHI is DR Horton. You have Lennar, which is LEN, also up huge since March. This one is up just about... Wow, this one's up big too. This is up about 328% from its lows. I want to see if this thing starts to lose some steam. And then I also want to watch Pulte, which is what? PUL? What is Pulte? Pulte is PHM. So PHM as well from 17 up to around 63, up about 276%. So I want to watch this as well. So Pulte, DHI, which is DR Horton, and then also Lennar, 3 home builders that I want to see what the price action looks like this week. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Maybe you guys can as well. Let me know what you guys think about that. Just an idea. So after hours today, we already talked about that. We have Apple, AMD, Google, Microsoft. I'll go over, I guess I'll go over a few of those. That's probably what you guys are most interested in. So it looks like Apple, that will be the first one we look over. You can see I already have a lot of lines sort of marked up here. If you could, before I get into this, you already know what I'm going to ask. If you could, just scroll down, press the like button. It helps me out a ton. Helps me grow these live streams and everything. So if you could support the channel by just pressing that like button. So here's Apple, guys. We have been looking at Apple for some time. This is the weekly chart. We've been watching this uptrend. I was adding shares, right around this time right here, which was in March, and then I was also adding very light here on these bounces here. And the only reason I was knowing to do that, and it's not because I'm I just know what's going to happen, but I was just trusting this trend line. This trend line was solid in the past, and I expected it to be solid into the future. And you can see, look how beautiful these bounces off this trend line were. Just consistent bounces off this trend line over and over again. And then look at this push. So very nice little push here on Apple. But now you're coming into, a double top here at 150, and you're also coming into earnings, guys. So I would be a little bit cautious about this top around 150. I don't really know if Apple is going to try to push through that right before earnings comes out. I mean, earnings comes out tonight. Does Apple really try to push through that top before earnings? Maybe, but I wouldn't be too interested in it either way, especially not for options. So here's your 150 resistance on the 4-hour. Just keep an eye on that 150. See if it pushes through it. If it does, maybe you can try to catch some intraday action here. today on Apple. But, I think there's going to be, I don't think the reaction is going to be too hot this morning with Apple reporting earnings. Of course, it's possible. So keep an eye over 150. That's really all I could say. I can't tell you what Apple's going to happen. I can't tell you what's going to happen on Apple. You have earnings coming out. You are channeling upwards. Yeah, you have somewhat of an upwards channel. So you're pretty strong. Just be aware of the double top potential at 150. Keep an eye on that. And make sure you know that earnings is coming out after hours. It's virtually, or it's absolutely impossible for me to tell you what's going to happen here. So good luck if you are playing Apple. If you have shares, don't sell your shares. There's absolutely no reason. Let it dip, buy more of it, and in a year now, Apple will be at 175, 200, and you'll be happy. So if you're in a shares position that you're not looking to trade, hold strong, wait to see what happens. If it dips, you buy more. If not, congratulations, you made money. It's a win-win. There's no losing here on a stock like Apple. Apple is not going out of business. Apple is. I think Apple is one of the best companies for you to own in a long-term portfolio. Now, of course, they don't pay a huge dividend. They pay a very small dividend, but you get it. You take advantage of that tech upside, that tech momentum, while owning such a solid company with, I don't even know how much cash. They have so much cash on their balance sheet that you would basically need to, they could literally start their company over again, just restart from scratch and probably have enough cash to redo the whole thing. So very solid company in my opinion. Not the biggest mover, but a great long-term stock. That's really how I look at Apple. Just hold this thing until you're old and wrinkled and pass it along to your children if you please. So I think I'm going to be pretty positive, and you can mark my words and screenshot this. I'm going to say, in 35 years, I think we'll be pretty damn happy that pre any splits that we own Apple here at 130, 140, whatever the split price is. I think you'd be pretty happy, and you could say to your grandkids, "Wow, you own Apple at $140 a share. It's now at $1,000 or something like that." That's how I look at it, and that's how I think. Apple will be into the future. So that's Apple. You have Google, $80 billion in free cash flow per year. How is that even fair? $80 billion in free cash flow per year. How do you go out of business when you have $80 billion in free cash flow? You got to be just the worst business managers, the worst run business in the world to go out with $80 billion in free cash flow. They're doing buybacks all the time. So here's Microsoft, or here's Google, and this is the definition of a chart that concerns me going into earnings. This is the chart that concerns me going into earnings. When you see a stock that is pushing so high into earnings, it is very concerning, and sometimes you get those dips. So here was the last earnings. You did get a gap up, but look at where. So if we ignore where Google was before this earnings, let me see if I can drag this over. Let me see how I can get this here to work. Here. So this was Google stock before earnings, right? Right there. This was Google stock, this far right candle. And this was the day we went into earnings. So we got the gap up, and we started to get that pullback here after the gap up, right? So we were up really far into earnings, up at all-time highs, and we got a small pullback. Now you are even further into all-time highs, and you're getting, I don't know what's going to happen. But one thing that you can keep in mind is that on the last 3 earnings reports on Google, you've gotten a gap up. So right here, gap up on Google off the last earnings. February of this year, big gap up on earnings on the last, big gap up on earnings on the last one, and then in April, another gap up on earnings, a little bit of a dip, but ended up moving much higher. So, if history repeats itself, maybe you get another gap up, but this thing is really, really moving up here into earnings. So I don't really know what's going to happen, guys. Just know that Google is at all-time highs yesterday off earnings. It is pushing even higher this morning to $2,800 a share. And maybe they come out with something that pushes this thing up to $3,000. I don't know. But just know that we are really, really extended into earnings, in my opinion. If we go to all products, expected move is $94 on Google. So as of right now, you'd have to see a Google at right around $2,900 after earnings for the options to increase in value. About a $94 expected move. Apple's expected move is right around 5.5. So that's a little bit 15. That's less than 5%. That's like 3% on Apple. Microsoft's expected move is 7.7. And then you have AMD expected move 4.4 or 4.8. So you have some expected moves there. If you guys want to look at it, go to the All Products tab, type in the ticker, and it's the yellow text here. So that's Apple, that's Google. Microsoft, same exact thing, guys. Look at the push we're getting into earnings, up to all-time highs. Really strong move higher. Do you think Microsoft can push even further on earnings? These are the charts that concern me. This is what I talked about this morning. I don't want to see these stocks move so high into earnings. I would rather be seeing Microsoft going down into earnings. If we were moving down into this trend line that I have drawn out, or even these previous highs here around 262, if we were seeing this move, I would be very, very optimistic on earnings because I'm pretty sure Microsoft's going to report well. I don't really know of any kinks in their business. I'm sure they did pretty well this quarter. I'm sure they're going to beat estimates. They do almost every time. But the fact that they're moving so much higher into earnings, that we're getting such a big push, I think a lot of it's getting priced in, and the margin for upside is getting smaller and smaller, and that is when you can lose money, when you're just not, you don't realize that this thing is so much of it is priced in that even if they report good, this stock can fall, even if they report good. This earnings report on Microsoft was really good. I mean, this was, I think, their best earnings report in company's history, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this earnings report on Microsoft was really, really good. You can check out the numbers if you want. I just don't have them up right now. But look at the reaction here on Microsoft after this earnings report. Really big gap down and a move all the way back to this trend line. So not the best earnings. I mean, a great earnings report, but you were at all-time highs at the time we were reporting. Not good. You're at all-time highs even further at the time of this report today. Also concerning. So watch that today on Microsoft. Next, AMD. AMD is right in this big time resistance zone here on as we approach earnings. So you have a lot of resistance in this area. I mean, you have multiple levels. This whole entire chop fest here, all in this area. Choppiness for almost 4 to 5 months. We got another push into it, big rejection, and we are coming right back into it here on earnings. So what happens on AMD, that's anyone's guess. I would just say if you want to play a sympathy play, check out NVIDIA for a potential sympathy play. I'm going to quickly go over BABA because a lot of you guys, I think I saw you guys talking about it. So if you're not aware of the news, the Chinese government is trying to crack down on Chinese companies that are traded on U.S. exchanges. For example, BABA, BIDU, JD. I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm missing, but those three come to mind. BABA being the one that's getting the biggest hit. So you've seen BABA getting absolutely wrecked here over the last few weeks. And yesterday, we got even more wrecked yesterday here all day. I mean, this thing would just continue to move lower all day. And it looks like we are gapping down here in the pre-market. The reason for the gap down is most likely the I'm not sure how did the Hang Seng the Asian markets do. I think let me go to futures contracts here. Futures, anyone know off the top of their head how the Asian markets finished? Just so I don't have to let me see. I'm going to assume they did bad because of that BABA gap down. So the Hang Seng was down another 4% yesterday. Is that right? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, another 4% yesterday. That's not good. So another 4% down for the. Actually, no, I think that's correct. Wow. So another big red day for the markets over in Asia. Here is the Hang Seng. This is the Hang Seng Index. It's on the Hong Kong Exchange. The HSI is the ticker. And you can see Monday and Tuesday just really, really nasty days. And this is definitely moving down some of these Chinese stocks. So BABA is one of them. And you can see this big gap down here. So this thing's under pressure. So you can watch it again today if you'd like. Long-term potential buy, maybe. But I'd be waiting for this to slow down. I'd be waiting for this to slow down. Yes, HS. It's like HS. I forgot what it is, guys. I'm sorry. Here it is. HSI dash. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So here it is. This is yesterday. Look at this. Another big fall here. So this oh my God. Yeah. Imagine this was the Nasdaq, guys. Imagine this was the Nasdaq. You'd be panicking. I would see panic everywhere. The CNBC markets in turmoil. You'd have all the clowns on CNBC saying that the market's about to crash, which it sort of is for this index here. I mean, this is a pretty big dip. From the highs here, we are down almost 20%. So 20% puts you in a bearish market. So bearish market over here for the HSI index, and that is why you're seeing these stocks move lower like BABA. If you go to this index, BABA is one of the holdings in this index. I was looking at it yesterday. BABA is one of the holdings in this index, and that is why you're seeing this move. Now, how to approach this move? I would be waiting until this falling knife slows down. People flying out of windows, yeah. So I would wait until this move slows down, wait for the falling knife to end. I'm sure, BABA fundamentals, I'm sure, are fantastic still. They have always been fantastic. I'm sure they will still be fantastic, but this crackdown on the China government is nothing to not worry about. They usually do whatever they want, and that's a little concerning over there. So if they say BABA can't be traded on U.S. exchanges or something crazy like that, that's going to be something you don't want to be dealing with. So wait for this. Wait for this news to pass over. Wait for this falling knife to slow down. But I think eventually, yes, this could be a nice long-term play. A nice push back to the upside. But this thing is under some serious pressure right now. Do you really want to be buying it on this falling knife? Personally, no, I do not. I would much rather wait until this slows down. So, this is an example. This is a great example of technicals not mattering as much as the fundamental and the macroeconomic news that is going on with this stock. You can say, wow, there's some really nice support at 190. I'm going to go ahead and buy it here. But, what about the news? What about, what if China cracks down on this thing even further? 190 is not going to hold. So you got to make sure you know about the news here versus the technicals. And I would just wait to not be buying a falling knife, in my opinion. Now, of course, if you bought it yesterday, like I see some of you guys did, I obviously wish the best, and I hope we get a nice bounce here off 190. Maybe we do. Maybe we get some sympathy here today. Totally possible. And if you do, maybe take some profits there, because I'm not sure how far this goes down. A lot of pressure. Respawn gaming chair is great, yeah. So last one, let's just quickly, I'm just going to show you Twitter and then we're going to get out of here. So here's Twitter. You guys can see we were looking at this resistance level yesterday, 72, and look at the rejection we saw yesterday. So 72, heavy level here. Not expecting Twitter to get through this level unless you get some strong catalyst. Here's the 1 minute chart from yesterday, just a total bleed out all day. So watch Twitter to the downside. Let's see what it does. But this 72 level is very tough. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you learned something today. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. If you did, please press that like button for me. Yeah, Lucid is LCID is the new CCIV. Yes, it's official. So please press that like button. Maybe we can get up to 300 likes. 50% of what people are in here. I mean, I don't think 50% is it's too hard to ask. Top picks today. Oh man, I don't know if you guys get this vibe from me, but I'm really not interested in really trying to chase much this week. I'm really just trying to learn from these earnings and not try to, make big moves on a week with all this news coming out. But I would definitely watch Apple near that 150. That's probably going to be interesting. Disney had a really good day yesterday. I am interested in watching Disney. But I think you just got to watch these. You got to watch these earnings stocks. So watch everything's that reporting earnings today. You got AMD, NVIDIA, which is going to be a sympathy move for AMD. Watch those two. And also, let's see if there's any Tesla continuation today. I think that's what you got to watch as well. Keep an eye on Tesla. It can still move today, and I would be keeping that on your charts. But again, approach this week conservative, please. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, a lot of earnings. Fed is talking tomorrow. Jerome Powell's on the mic tomorrow. So be careful. With that said, please press the like button. It helps me out a ton. We got about, not even 50% of people that pressed it. If you enjoyed the stream, press it. It's free. It helps out. Thank you guys for being here. Come hang out tomorrow every day from 8 a.m. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And, yeah. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Oh, also, I forgot. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor right here, MSI. MSI has sponsored this stream. They've sent out a lot of cool stuff, sending out gear, sending out keyboards, mouses, a new Trident X platform. It's got a 2080 Ti, or I think it's got the 2080 Super. And I have a 3060, and this thing just like totally outperforms that thing. So I spent my own money. I went ahead and bought a gaming PC with a 3060. Looks all pretty, and then I went ahead and got this 2080 Super, and I was very sad because of how much better the 2080 is. But thank you again, MSI, for sponsoring the stream. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to look at any of the products that I have down below, they are going to be in the description. You can check out those links. So once again, just thank you to MSI. Awesome sponsorship. Something that I felt sort of correlated with my viewers. I wouldn't call it the shameless plug. I really don't. I think this is something that a lot of people would use as a trader. I think this is something that correlates to traders, and I really strongly believe in that because I get a lot of people reaching out to me about these bullshit sponsorships about this stupid product or something that doesn't make any sense with my viewers. And when I had the opportunity with MSI, I thought that one really correlated with the people that watch my streams. So that's why I do it. If you guys don't like me, giving a shout out to MSI, then you don't need to show up to the live streams tomorrow. That's okay. So thank you guys for being here. If you stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.